This is All India Radio. Welcome to Science Serial, Life Must Go On. All India Radio, in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar, presents Science Serial, Life Must Go On, based on understanding and managing sustainable development. Episode number 5, titled Awakening.
Come, let's go. It's been so long.
Wait. She's going to come right now.
Wait for a while.
I heard her say so.
Please pass it to me.
Give me some water. My throat is drying.
I think mom is coming any moment.
Yeah.
Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
You must be eager to know why you have assembled in the auditorium. Well, the suspense is over. We are privileged to have with us our former student, Miss Sumita. She has received the Green Globe Award for this year for her work on sustainable development. I hope everyone knows what sustainable development means. It means development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs.
Needs of the present? Does that include us kids also?
Yes, of course. Just because you are children does not mean sustainable development does not include you. And future means your great-grandchildren and their great-grandchildren too. It includes everyone who will be born on earth sooner or later.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, here is Sumita. Children, please welcome her. It is a joy to welcome you, Sumita. Would you like to tell your juniors a little bit about sustainable development?
Thank you, ma'am. It is indeed an honor to be felicitated by the school where I was once a student.
Our pleasure, Sumita.
It gives a great sense of continuity. It also seems to me that as a former student, I have a responsibility towards the newer students because I came to the school before they did. I must pass on the baton to them to keep the school's name flying high.
Like sustainable development, it is the responsibility of the present generation to make sure future generations are provided for.
In a way, I suppose you've got the idea right. So, who has a question for me?
I have, please. My name is Rita. I am 8 years old and I have never heard of this term before. Why do we need sustainable development?
Well, Rita, you have asked a very fundamental question. Think of it this way. We get almost everything from Mother Earth, don't we?
Yes, ma'am.
Some resources like the air we breathe, we get free. But for others, we labor. Like the farmer works in his fields to grow crops. Am I right, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, whatever we get from Mother Earth, these are all resources. Resources are of two kinds, renewable and non-renewable.
And children, from the name you can understand, non-renewable resources are resources for which there is a limited supply. And if finished, these cannot be replenished by natural means.
So true. With renewable resources, we are on slightly better ground, as these resources can be replenished by the environment over relatively short periods of time.
Can you please give a few examples?
Well, sunlight can be thought of as a renewable resource. Wind energy too. Crops are another. All animal species reproduce. So these are renewable resources too. But not if a species is hunted to extinction or its habitat is destroyed and there are no more left. Then this species is lost forever.
We dig into the soil and extract minerals. We have oil wells from which we get petroleum. Well, what will happen if the oil wells are set on fire during a war? Or we dig out all the minerals from a mine? Say, all the coal from a coal mine.
That's right.
Exactly. We cannot grow oil or coal. These must be non-renewable resources.
It will all be finished. There will be nothing left.
Right. Good thinking.
If all natural resources are finished, what will we do?
We will die.
Let us see what alternatives we have, because extinction is not an option. I have a small stage show to show you what Mother Earth would say if she had a voice. Listen carefully.
Okay, ma'am.
When human beings first emerged, I never thought there would be more than 10 billion people by the year 2100. I am not even counting the non-humans. I have to feed the people, clothe them, and give them shelter. They like to travel and move produce from place to place. So I have to give them the resources to do so. Not all people or countries are the same. Some are greedy. They grab more than they need. Some are wasteful. They live extravagantly. Some are uneducated and do not appreciate my gifts. Many are so poor that they have no access to my gifts. Human beings are becoming a burden I cannot bear, but they are intelligent. Some of them have already understood the problem, but they must act. I need help.
Mother Earth is so sad. How can we help?
This problem has to be solved by joint action of all the people on earth. Of course, each one of us can also help.
Yes, first we have to realize that we have to address three main issues if we want sustainability. Count now. First, social issues. Second, economic issues. And third is environmental.
So, economic development, social development, and environmental protection are the tripod or three pillars of sustainability.
Well said, Ravi. Once you start thinking like this, you will realize that if any one pillar is weak, then the system becomes unsustainable.
Are there different organizations for each of these three pillars? Or is there only one?
Most national and international efforts focus on only one pillar at a time. For example, the United Nations Environmental Programme and the environmental protection agencies of many nations focus on the environmental pillar.
Okay, ma'am.
The World Trade Organization focuses mostly on economic growth.
All right.
The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development focuses on economic growth and also on social sustainability, like war reduction and justice. The United Nations attempts to strengthen all the three pillars.
And unfortunately, we do not as yet have one organization that works at a global and international level focusing on all three pillars.
But slowly we are gaining international consensus, and then maybe such an organization will evolve.
How are the different countries coming together?
Yes, the rich countries have a different philosophy towards resources. They are more concerned with extracting more, producing more, using more, and discarding more. The poor countries have another view because sometimes the really poor have no access to resources that they badly need. I cannot believe the affluent countries and the developing countries can agree on a common agenda.
Ravi, no need to be upset about this. Listen to what Sumita is saying. International cooperation is happening, and you will see more of it in the future. For the sake of sustainability, this has to happen.
Yes, the first United Nations Conference on the Human Environment was held in 1972 in two heads of state. Olof Palme of Sweden and Indira Gandhi of India attended. This conference was the first one that focused attention on the condition of global environment.
The conference highlighted the globally shared, that is, international nature of the environment. It made people reflect on the relationship between development and the environment. After that, the world became very conscious about the situation. The United Nations Environment Programme was established.
Exactly. About 20 years later, over 100 heads of state and representatives from 178 national governments came together at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development at Rio de Janeiro. This was the famous 1992 Rio Earth Summit.
Oh, so people started thinking about the earth as opposed to thinking only about their own countries. It makes sense. We cannot compartmentalize our air or our seas, can we? Pollution will contaminate across national boundaries.
Exactly. Well, this was the first international attempt to draw up action plans and strategies for moving towards a more sustainable pattern of development. The Biodiversity Convention was mooted at this summit.
Yes, India signed it too. Basically, India agreed to conserve biological diversity, making sustainable use of it, and ensure there is fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources.
Yes, if species become extinct, the loss threatens natural resources. Sustainable development depends on natural resources. Genetic material from plant and animal species is the foundation for the agricultural, pharmaceutical, and other biotechnologically based industries.
And sometimes we do not even know what potential a species has to benefit us because we have not studied that species in detail. If it goes extinct, our hopes of using it gainfully also vanishes.
This was the first time that the world recognized that conservation of biodiversity is a common concern of humankind and is an integral part of the development process.
Ma'am, so was there again a 20-year gap before more action was taken?
No. The seriousness of the situation meant that many international agreements were signed. For example, the 1978 Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement, the 1979 Geneva Convention on Long-Range Transboundary Air Pollution, the 1985 Helsinki Agreement, the 1988 Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, and the 1989 Basel Convention on transboundary movements of hazardous wastes.
However, it was not until 1987 that the phrase sustainable development made it into our vocabulary.
So, this is a relatively modern term, although the concept is a timeless one.
Yes, very much so. The UN General Assembly set up the World Commission on Environment and Development. The chairperson was Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. So the report was named after him.
And the Brundtland report declared that the time had come for a marriage between the environment and the economy. It used the term sustainable development.
Now I think you're confused about how environment and economy can be married.
Yes, ma'am. Activities such as extraction, processing, manufacture, transport, consumption and disposal impact the environmental systems. These actions also generate wastes. So there is a direct connection between economic development, use of products and environment.
Oh, we never thought of it in this way.
Economic development without environmental considerations can cause serious environmental damage.
You are right. Every day when I walk to school, I see a factory belching black smoke into the air. Many of my neighbors have developed breathing problems. My mother keeps windows closed and always grumbles about environmental pollution.
According to an estimate, 60% of the Earth's ecosystem services have been degraded in the past 50 years. Natural resource consumption is expected to rise to 170% of the Earth's biocapacity by 2040. Just put 2 and 2 together and analyze what it means for sustainability on Earth.
Think about all this. Tomorrow you can submit a presentation on what you found out about global steps being taken to achieve sustainable development.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ravi Bhaiya,
Yes?
Papa says America and countries in Europe are developed.
Okay.
I think the people there are rich. We are not so developed. So many times Papa says we have no money. Not all of us have cars. Rich people must be using more products, no?
Your simple question is actually about consumption levels and consumption patterns at a global scale.
You mean worldwide?
Yes, now if there are more people, consumption will be more. There will be almost 9 billion people on earth by 2050. Each person is a consumer, maybe more, maybe less. But every person will use some resources.
Oh, so the total volume of consumption will go up.
Then again, factor in the rise in global affluence and associated consumption. Global middle class is expected to triple by 2030. They will begin to fulfill aspirations and dreams. The higher income group who believe in consumerism anyway will not slow down. They will add to the demand. I remember Papa telling me that between 1990 and 2002, average overall incomes increased by approximately 21% globally.
More money means more power to spend. So you buy more and more. How will it slow down? I think the grown-ups should do something. How can we stop runway demands and production? We will exhaust all natural resources. And then what will happen? No one will have anything.
Oi, don't get so upset. The whole world's woes are not on your tiny little shoulders alone. I think this has to be done by all countries, and cooperation is needed internationally also. After all, we have only one earth. I am sure the leaders have given thought to this. Let's go home and find out. Careful now. Step around all these cartons stored outside this electronics store. His shop is so full, he has displayed items on the pavement.
Yes.
Rita,
Yes, Bhaiya?
come and sit near me, dear. Let me search the word sustainable development. There.
Oh, you have got many hits. Read quickly. Here, read this one first. It is about the Millennium Summit in September 2000. The 21st century is a good time to begin a search. Read quickly.
It says that there were 8 international development goals, and each goal had specific target and dates.
What were the goals?
To eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, to achieve universal primary education, to promote gender equality and empower women, to reduce child mortality, to improve maternal health, to combat HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, to ensure environmental sustainability, to develop a global partnership for development.
Ravi, Rita, what are you two doing on the computer? Aren't you going out to play?
No, Ma. We have an interesting assignment on sustainable development.
We have just found that early this century, in 2000, the world decided to join hands and work together.
Oh, I think you're talking about the Millennium Development Goals. The deadline was 2015. On September 25th, 2015, many countries adopted a set of goals as a part of new Sustainable Development Agenda. Each goal has a specific target to be achieved over next 15 years, 2030 for updates.
So in these 15 years, did the global cooperation achieve nothing? Why did we need another deadline?
No, dear me, no. It made tremendous strides. The number of people in extreme poverty declined. Child mortality rates fell. Life expectancy rose. Access to safe water and sanitation rose.
If such good things happen, why a new deadline for 2030?
Sadly, progress has been far from uniform across all the countries of the world, and huge disparities still remain between countries.
Yes, but within a country too, poverty is greatest for rural areas. Though urban poverty is also extensive, it is underreported but growing. When I go to school, I see the shanty towns, juggi jhopdis or bastis, and there are so many homeless on railway platforms and under the bridges.
Yes, many of these poor people are not only homeless, they have no money. They beg sometimes for food and clothes.
Dear Rita, you are too young to understand that poverty is more than just a lack of income or resources. It also means lack of access to basic service such as education. It means hunger, social discrimination, and exclusion from the decision-making process.
I'm going to make a chart to explain Sustainable Development Goals 2030 in school tomorrow. Look, according to my search, the Sustainable Development Goals were born at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio de Janeiro in 2012. Sumita Didi told us about the first Earth Summit in Rio. This takes the agenda forward. I will start here.
I will help you. Write down the goals first, Bhaiya.
There are 17 goals. Let me study these first. Goal 1. End poverty in all its forms everywhere. Goal 2. End hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal 4. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal 5. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal 6. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Goal 7. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. Goal 8. Promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Goal 9. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Goal 10. Reduce inequality within and among countries. Goal 11. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. Goal 12. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal 13. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. Goal 14. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resource for all sustainable development. Goal 15. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Goal 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Goal 17. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. I have just realized that the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 stress everything from zero poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education to gender equality.
It has to. Globally, 1 in 9 people are undernourished. The vast majority of these people live in developing countries. So this is good news for a vast section of society. Poor nutrition causes nearly half of deaths in children under 5. That is 3.1 million children each year. Think what a huge difference it will make if we can meet the goals.
And it also includes clean water, sanitation, affordable clean energy, unpolluted oceans and land.
Plus, decent work and economic growth, innovation, reduction in inequalities, sustainable cities, responsible consumption, climate action, and partnerships to achieve the goals. I am really happy they have focused on sustainable production and consumption. That is the key, I think.
How can anyone do all this?
Appropriate use of science is one of the most effective weapons. The Sustainable Development Goals include issues that affect us all. And also these involve us all to achieve a sustainable, safer and more prosperous planet for all humanity for all time.
I will include what UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said about this ambitious international goal. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are our shared vision of humanity and a social contract between the world's leaders and the people. They are a to-do list for all planet, people, and a blueprint for success.
I think Mahatma Gandhi was a way ahead of his time. Remember how he pointed out that the earth has enough for everyone's need but not for everyone's greed.
But how will I know if it is my need or my greed? I want so many things.
Very easy. A need is something that a person cannot live without. So, can you name three needs?
Cannot live without. Easy. Air, water, and food.
A want is something that you can live without but do not prefer to. Like?
We understand, Ma. It becomes greed when we have limitless wants. And greed is the enemy of sustainable development.
Yes. And now global leaders have woken up to the crisis precipitated by runaway greed of individuals and the unsustainable lifestyle of certain nations. They are educating school children, also our next generation of the citizen and leaders. Hopefully, it is not too late already.
No, Ma. We are optimistic that we will meet the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030.
We must. Failing is not an option.
Life must go on. You were listening to the 5th episode of this science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar titled Awakening. Coordinators were Dr. R. Gopi Chandran and Dr. B.K. Tyagi. Scripted by Sukanya Dutt, directed and produced by Naveen Kumar Gupta, recording and mixing by Neeraj Bakshi. Participants were Surabhi, Naina Sagar, Shefali, Gargi Sehjani, Harshit and Manal. Hey listeners, please stay with us. Here we have 2 questions for you. The lucky winner will get attractive prizes from Vigyan-Prasar. The first question is, in which place International Convention on Environment was organized in the year 1992? And the second question is, when and where was concept of Sustainable Development Goals adopted? And the second question is, when and where was concept of Sustainable Development Goals adopted? You can send your answers by simple post. Our address is Science Serial Life Must Go On, All India Radio, room number 615, New Broadcasting House, Sansad Marg, New Delhi 110001. You can also write to our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Please do write or mail us your full name, age and profession. If associated with Science Club, do let us know the membership of your club. If you have any query or question, don't hesitate to write to us. We will be back again with the next episode of this science serial, Life Must Go On, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.